Hello, neighbors. It's Brad here from eTrailer, and today I have Chris from TST, and we're going to be taking a look at some monitoring for your tires, not only for tow vehicles, but RVs, campers. Chris, let's break it down and take a look at some of these products.
Yeah. So TST is a TPMS that is a commercial grade system that offers real-time monitoring of tire pressure and temperature. So it is designed to fit various vehicles such as RVs, trucks, trailers, and pretty much anything that's towable. It offers early warning alerts for low pressure, high temperature, and fast leak. So having a system like this is going to greatly reduce the chances of catastrophic blowout. And because it monitors temperature, it's actually going to give you warnings of a possible issue with your with your wheel bearings, with your brakes, etc. So extremely important safety feature to have.
So not only measuring, tire pressure and heat is for safety, but there's also a lot of benefits that go along with that.
So it's going to improve the wear and tear of your tire and help you with fuel efficiency. So it's not just going to be preventing tire blowouts, but tire blowouts is actually the main reason why you want to have a system like this. And the main cause of a tire blowout is actually high temperature, right? Having a system like this, it's going to give you early warning signs before your tire actually reaches a temperature where it's going to experience a blowout. And here are some of the things that actually increases the heat of your tire. It's actually low pressure, it's actually speeds, overweight, and also dragging brakes, overheating bearings. So one of the benefits of having a system like this, it's going to actually warn you if you have wheel bearing issues or brake issues, which can cause you, a catastrophic event. So a system like this, yes, it's going to monitor your tire pressure and temperature, but it's also going to be able to help you if you have an issue with one of those things.
Well, and that's a great point because a lot of times in a car, if a wheel bearing's going bad, I can hear it. But with a camper, you're not really going to hear that as you're going down the road. So if you have all your tire pressure at the same time, but one's consistently hotter, you can really pinpoint maybe the trouble spot.
Correct, and it could be again, you have more weight on that one tire that's causing that tire to be more warmer than the other tires. It could lead you to believe that possibly the wheel bearings or brakes you have brake issues. So that's going to give you an idea of, hey, I need to check this tire and find out if it is the tire issue or something else like wheel bearings or brakes.
Now, a lot of newer vehicles have TPMS sensors built into the tires from the factory, and a lot of times if you get low tires, especially wintertime it seems, as pressures drop, it's going to give you a dummy light and it says tires are low, but really not like an actual readout of pressure or active monitoring. That's not the case here, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So this TST's TPMS offers real-time monitoring of pressure and temperature. Temperature is the most important part. So most TPMSs that you find in vehicles, it's going to give you just a universal tire inflation symbol saying one of your tires has an issue. Where our system, we're going to tell you exactly what the issue is, temperature or PSI, and exactly what tire has the issue. Outside of that, our system is a commercial grade system built for not only the RV industry but also the trucking industry. So it's going to be extremely more reliable. The radio frequency that we use is more reliable. The product that we use is more reliable. So it's going to be a lot more enhanced TPMS system.
And traditionally, with vehicles, they're mounted inside of the tire, and that's not exactly the case with all of your applications. You do have something that goes inside, but you don't have to demount a tire for these to work, correct?
Correct. Currently, we offer four types of sensors to capture tire data. So we have here three external sensors, the flow-through sensor, a hybrid sensor for marine vehicles, and also a cap sensor for RV trailers. We also have an internal sensor that wraps around the wheel inside of your tire, but it's not connected to your valve stem at all, creating a much more durable and resilient TPMS system.
So let's kind of break down each of the sensors and why someone would go with one. We have the internal sensor here. It looks like a large hose clamp. So this will go around the wheel and monitor on the inside of the tire. Some of these are OEM prepped from the factory of camper facilities, right?
Correct. There's actually about 45 to 55 RV lines that currently come with our system factory installed. And a lot of them, and most of them actually, come with this internal system. So this is a band, a metal band that's wrapped around the wheel with a laser sealed sensor. A few ways where you can find out if your RV actually came with our TST system. So there's a green sticker that is usually outside of the RV that shows that your RV is prepped with our TPMS system. There's a hang tag that you can also find inside the vehicle. And also a TPMS notice letting you know, it's a yellow notice letting you know that there's a TPMS system prepped on your RV. One other way is actually a valve cap with a universal tie inflation symbol on it. So if you see that on there, it means that it comes with our TPMS system factory installed.
So that's awesome. Take a look at your camper, and if you have any of that, you're already kind of halfway there. What would they need to do to complete that kit to make sure that it all works?
Okay, so once you get an RV that has our system factory installed, all you have to do is grab your monitor, follow the instructions to set up, and actually sync each one of the sensors inside each of the tires to your monitor, and then your system is up and going. Now, obviously, this system here is not going to just monitor the trailer. You can also monitor your towing vehicle. So what we recommend is to expand your system. So you can come here to eTrailer, purchase these external sensors that you can add to your towing vehicle and other trailers that you may have. Our system covers up to 115 tires and up to 4 vehicles. So you can actually expand the system and have everything in one dedicated monitor. And again, you're going to have TPMS system on your vehicle, but it's not going to be a commercial grade system that's going to monitor everything that we monitor, which is temperature, pressure, but also fast leak. You know.
So, okay, if they are, as you mentioned, there's plenty of different settings in the monitor. So that way, if you have a fleet of things, you can set presets and get it all dialed in, hook up, ready to go, and have all that monitoring. But if it's not prepped with this internal band, the other way is to be adding it onto the valve stem itself, correct?
Correct. Yeah, so you have many options. So if you have an RV that doesn't currently have a TPMS system, you can purchase an aftermarket kit. You can buy an internal sensor kit if you like, but the most popular ones are going to be the external sensors. And the reason for that, it's easy to install right onto your valve stem. They replace your valve caps, and they're also serviceable. So you can change the batteries, the O-rings, and it can last you a very long time.
So looking at the valve stem style sensors, you mentioned that there's a hybrid, we have the traditional, and then a flow through. What are the differences, and what applications would you use each of them in?
Okay, so first, the cap sensor. This is this one right here. It's a smaller sensor, and it's gonna be very versatile. You can use a metal or rubber valve stems. So that's the most popular one, and it's also serviceable. So it has a CR2032 battery that you can change very easily every 2 to 4 years, and also O-rings that you can service, so it can last you a very long time. The second sensor that we have here for external use is the hybrid or marine sensor. So this sensor is laser sealed, a lot like the internal sensor, and this one can be submerged underwater, so great for your boat trailers. And the flow-through sensor is very similar to the marine sensor and the cap sensor, but it has a flow-through valve, so you can actually adjust the air pressure through the sensor. Now, because it's a little bit bigger sensor and heavier, you're going to need metal valve stems for the flow-through. But essentially, all sensors will do the same thing.
So no matter the sensor, they're all going to work with the same monitor, correct?
Correct. So all of our sensors will work with the 507 display monitor, and you can actually mix and match. So you can have some of the RV cap sensors, some of the flow-through sensors, internal sensors, it doesn't matter. I'm actually going to demonstrate to you what you have to do in order to sync a sensor to the display, okay? So if you have your display on, you're going to press and hold the set button until it beeps. And then you're going to come here to Learn ID by pressing the plus button 5 times. Press the set button to enter that mode. And I'm actually I start right here on the passenger steer tire for a towing vehicle. I'm gonna program a sensor to this position to demonstrate how to do that. You're first gonna see all Fs flashing. All Fs, it means an empty position. When it begins to flash, it's ready to receive a sensor code. You place the sensor to the bottom left corner of the display and then quickly press and release the go button. It picks up a alphanumerical code which is unique to each sensor. Is actually that code is actually printed on the sensor itself, and all you have to do now is press the set button to save that sensor code to the display. Once it's saved, you can actually press the plus button and move to your next tire position and repeat the process. Now I will demonstrate what it sounds like once you have an alert. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the home screen here, and as you can see, it's actually already reading the display and giving you a low pressure alert. I pressed a button, and it can be any button to silence the audible alert. Visual alert stays until the issue is solved.
So you have this monitor choice as well as a grayscale, correct?
Correct. So the 507 display comes in 2 models. So one is the color display. This is this one right here. It has a few colors. And the grayscale display or monochrome display, which has a gray background and a black outline for for the towing vehicle section and the trailer section.
And I like the visual display of it. You can see that there's mirrors on the towed vehicle, and when it's all broken down, you can see all the different tires. So you really know exactly where it's at. It gives you a nice visual cue, and that way it's specific to each tire. You don't have to go around checking which one is it. You know exactly which tire it's going to be.
Correct. This is a great monitor for you to have because what's going to happen is before a trip, you're actually going to turn on your display. You're going to see all your tires icons. So let's say you have a motorhome with 6 tires. You're going to see 6 tires icon around the left section, which is your towing vehicle section. And then you're going to have, let's say you have a tow vehicle with 4 tires. You're going to see those 4 tire icons here. You can look for your pressures, allow it to connect to each one of your sensors, give you pressure, temperature, and you know you're safe to go on the road before you hit the road.
So if I have sensors on my tow vehicle and on my camper, but maybe I flat tow or whatever it may be, you can have multiple different things. How does it know that I'm hooked up to a certain trailer or maybe my flat towed vehicle or something along those lines?
Okay, so with the 507 display, you can monitor up to 4 different trailers. So you will actually see a little number inside the trailer section letting you know that that's that trailer, either 1, 2, 3, or 4. So the way that the 507 works is when it's near all of the trailers, it will look for all of the trailers, but it will only connect to the trailers that are near, right? And so let's say you have 2 trailers and you hook up to trailer 1 and you leave. After a while, it will stop looking for trailer 2 and only monitor trailer 1.
So how does this work? Is it Bluetooth or does it? How do you get the information from the sensors on your tires to that monitor?
Okay, so we actually don't use Bluetooth, and the reason for that is because Bluetooth is a very short radio frequency that it's not very reliable. So what we use is a longer radio frequency that's more reliable. It's 433 megahertz, and that's how the sensor communicates to the display. We also include a radio booster that enhances that signal strength as well.
Is a booster something that's required for every installation?
Yes, we consider the booster a vital component of our system because it enhances the radio frequency of the signal coming from the sensor to the display, and it protects you from possible interference and sensor reading dropouts.
That makes sense because as you're out on the road, especially as technology is advanced, there's frequencies all over. But that booster is going to make sure that it stays consistent with just your monitoring system.
Correct. So it's not just for distance. The main purpose of the radio booster is that it's going to increase the strength of the communication. So as you mentioned, there's so much radio frequency in our roads today, so much technology communicating with each other. It's extremely vital to have a radio booster to protect you from that interference.
So obviously these have to have power somehow to be able to send that to the monitor, and the monitor needs to be plugged in as well. So how does that all work, and what's the lifespan on some of this?
Okay, so each individual sensor has its own battery. So we have 2 sensors that are serviceable that have replaceable batteries. That is the flow-through sensor and the RV cap sensor. Okay, those batteries typically last between 2 to 4 years. So we recommend every couple of years or so change those out. When it comes to the hybrid sensor, it has an internal battery that's laser sealed, and it will last you about 4 years, about the lifespan of your tire. That's the same thing with the internal sensor. Is a laser sealed sensor that has a battery that will last you about 4 years, about the lifespan of your tire.
Now, if I'm storing my RV for the winter, or should I take these off to save the battery, or can I just leave them on there?
You can actually leave them on there. We actually recommend to leave them on there because the battery will last a pretty long time, and we don't want you to risk of misplacing where each sensor goes, right? You're supposed to label them and know where they go, but sometimes you can swap them around, and that's going to create an issue, right? But if you want to take them out, you can. These sensors are pressure activated, so if you remove them, you will be conserving battery, and they will last longer.
Now, as far as the monitor, how do you power that up?
So the 507 display uses a USB to micro USB charging cord, and it takes about 2 to 4 hours to fully charge it. Once it's fully charged, it can last for a very long time, a few days actually. So we highly recommend to fully charge your display before every trip, and you should have more than enough charge for a few days of driving.
And looking at how our monitor's placed, you have a dash mount as well as a window mount, so that way you can really get a heads-up display exactly where you want it on your tow vehicle or your RV.
Correct. You have a few different ways to mount this display on your dashboard. You can use a rubber dash mount that's included. We also have a suction cup mount that you can mount to the display and put it on your windshield or side window. And you can also just simply place this on your middle console. So you have a lot of different options of mounting it.
Now, you mentioned changing the batteries out on some of these sensors, but is there any other maintenance that's really involved with it? I mean, these are on tires that who knows what people are going to be driving through, and you want to make sure that they're going to be robust long term. So, is there maintenance involved with these?
So yes, with the serviceable sensors, which are the cap sensors and the flow-through sensors, where you have replaceable batteries, we also recommend you to change the O-rings that keep that sensor sealed and secure from outside weathering. So we always recommend that every time you change your battery, which is usually going to be between 2 to 4 years, to also make sure you change those O-rings, keep those O-rings nice and new and fresh to protect your sensors from possible, weathering and corrosion.
And we have all those service kits available here at eTrailer. So if you already have these or if you're looking to get into these long term, keep that in mind that we do have all those parts to be able to service them. So huge thanks to Chris from TST for taking the time to kind of break down their systems. I think this is great because at the end of the day, it's a big investment, whether truck, trailer, camper, whatever it may be, and being safe out on the road, especially when you're putting a lot of miles out there, that's going to be the most important thing. I like the benefits that it offers, and I think this is something, I mean, anything that you can monitor and have data points really paints the picture of long-term maintenance and overall a great product. So thanks again, Chris, for having us.
It was a pleasure.
Great product. So if this is something you've been looking at, if you're really, worried about your safety or just efficiency, whatever it may be, again, monitoring something is going to go a long way while out on the road.